Hello and welcome back to the FPL Tom YouTube channel. We're of course back for Game Week 4. As you can probably see there, Jake he's raring and ready to go. Just taking a quick selfie with his little bucket hat on there. How you doing, mate? You doing good?
Yeah, just had a little nap. Been on a very early start this week, so just making sure that you couldn't see any of the bags under my eyes.
Oh no, you're
Yeah,
all good. You're all good,
I'm
mate.
good. I'm good. I'm glad the football's back because this weekend was, um, well, it was. I'm glad it's over because it's never fun when you've got no domestic club football.
No, even Mansfield didn't play, so I had absolutely nothing to watch this
And
weekend.
from here,
Yeah, just like having international breaks for League One and League Two is just a bit woke, isn't it?
that's a very good way to put it.
It's
I
just
mean,
it's
come
just
here,
woke.
I think there were three call-ups, and I can only imagine they were for players that play for, well, players whose great grandma's sister's dogs played for St. Lucia.
I think ours was we had a player play for Australia, New Zealand, and then where was the other one? I think it was like some Caribbean country. So not great, not great really.
Yeah.
Is your laptop all right? I can hear it vibrating.
It might be because it's charging a phone, so tell me if that helps it.
That didn't help it. That didn't help it. Jamie said, "Whose anal beads are on vibrate? Have you got them in instead? Is that what it actually is?"
Uh-oh. Right, let me see if I can sort this. It's because it's... this might help.
Go on.
This is a good way to start a good way to start the stream. Hopefully that helps.
A little bit. I can still hear it, but it is what it is. Actually, no, it's sorted it. It's sorted it. I can hear it a bit, but it's sorted it. It is sorted it. Yeah,
Okay.
we'll roll with
Need
it.
me, I'll call on my phone.
Nah, we'll roll with it. We'll roll with it, lad. As always, we will be answering your guys' questions as well ahead of Game Week 4. Hopefully, no more technical difficulties do show up. However, we've got plenty to go through, including our team selection, of course, the betting data for this week, and predicted points for Game Week 4, all the way up until Game Week 9 as well. So do get your questions in, and we will try to answer as many as we possibly can. First off, Jake, of course, there's got to be one place we're going to start with. It is going to be bed shitter of the week. Now, usually on the graphic, I just put 2 players. This week, I've gone for 2 players and a club. Any idea what that club might be?
Is it Manchester United?
It isn't Manchester United, mate. There was a bigger bed shitter than that.
Oh. Uh,
Very close to home for you, mate. Very close to home.
oh yeah. Oh my. Oh yeah. Take back, United fans. You didn't really get the bed just as much as Bloody Everton did.
Yeah, yeah. So on the graphic, we've got Declan Rice, Muniz, and of course the Everton badge as well. So I'm going to ask you, who is your bed shitter of the week for Game Week through? Who absolutely stunk it up?
Okay. Well, I like Declan Rice being there because I think he's a surprisingly high transfer differential that people have gone for this season because everyone knows that he'll play every minute, bar albeit quite ironically injury or suspension. Um, so yeah, I think that one's got quite a few people that might have gone for him as a cheaper differential. Being on the set pieces, he'll pop up with a couple of assists. And it was harsh. It was harsh. Um, I think I remember. I definitely said that it was a second yellow, but the more you watch it, the more you realise. I don't think as much as like people kick the ball away. I feel like he almost just does it because the ball's just rolling.
Mm,
He doesn't think I'm going to stop this game. I'm not going to let this game restart. I think it's just kind of like if human sees football, they touch it, and if it's rolling, it's just you can't help but just kick it.
yeah.
If you get what I mean, I don't think much thought was there in his head, so I think he was a little bit foolish. He just conceded a foul. He just like lost his appeal to about the foul, and I think he was just a bit like, "Oh, for God's sake!" But I don't think there was any malice in it. If anything, I think Matt Veltman was a little bit more malicious, and Yeah, he probably could have been further reprimanded. So yeah, I think as much as he's shat the bed there, I think it's a little bit harsh. But unfortunately, mate, I say unfortunately, I can't think of one that tops either of those.
Mm.
But even so, I do really like the inclusion of a football club.
I do.
Uh,
I think it's just fitting, isn't it? It is just fitting because they were 2-0 up, right? They were 2-0
yeah,
up.
with 9 minutes left.
Yeah, they should not be losing that game from that position. I feel sorry for the people that have the likes of Mikalenko, Pickford, that were thinking, oh, Everton are back, 2-0 up, clean sheet, 9 minutes to go. Surely this is a banker. To
What about
go,
those? What about those kinds of people that have had a stinker in predicting all of the scores this weekend, and so then they go, "Let's have a look at the scores that I predicted." 2-0 Everton.
ah, that's good, mate. That is good. But yeah, I'm going to go for Everton for my bedshitter of the week. I think they were just terrible, genuinely terrible. So I think it's a fair nomination, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah.
All right,
No,
let's get the
I don't.
poll in the chat.
Don't even think we need the poll there, but
No. So get your votes in for bedshitter of the week, guys, for game week 3. Either Declan Rice or Everton as a whole football club. People are loving the hat tonight, Jake. They are loving the hat. Where's it from?
yeah.
Talk me through it. Talk me through the
Do
fashion.
you not remember where it's from?
I think it's from Skeg, if I remember correctly off the top
It
of
is
my
from
noggin.
Skeg. Yeah, it's one of those classic Skeg barter hats where I believe he wanted however much money for it, and I only had, I believe, a £5 note.
Mm.
Managed to get him down to the fiver, and Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. It's now on my head 2 years later.
It's very
Uh,
nice, mate. It's very nice. It's stylish. I like it.
yeah, blue hat, big t-shirt, Billie Eilish.
There we go. Look at him. He's in full swing. You
You
couldn't
can
have
tell I've
told.
only just woken up about this.
No. You definitely couldn't tell you've just woken up. I thought it was just natural, straight back into things, really. Straight back into the swing of things. You know what I mean? There was no kind of like lull period, to be honest. You just were straight back in, witty as ever. It was great.
Yeah, you were like, it's really good, and then you just saw, din 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 din.
Right, let's move on to your points for game week 3. Obviously, quickly talk us through it because I don't want to spend too much time talking about game week 3 because it was an absolute age go. But 74 points for you, another very steady week as well, up to 1.5 million rank. And interestingly, above me as well. So, yeah, it's going well, mate.
Yeah, those that will have backed Salah and Haaland will be really laughing.
Mm-hmm.
For as long as it lasts, who knows how long it'll last, and you'd imagine having them in for the time being, the average will just continue to grow.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, they are the two standout performers this season already. I'm glad that I think we spoke briefly. Like I was tempted by the Chelsea assets, and I'm glad that I didn't fall for it because I wouldn't have gone for Palmer, who I believe got an assist. Am I right?
He did get an assist, yeah, that's correct.
And I do think he'll be a great asset this season. But I was considering Madueke because he scored a rogue hat trick. I was like, you know what, I might jump on that bandwagon. I was like, no, that's the old Jake. The new Jake goes by the sensible decisions, and he brings in Visser. And you may say that's not sensible, but in my head it was. I saw him. I could just see him scoring. I could just see it. And lo and behold, he did. So yeah, happy days. He scored. He was part of my double change, removing Isak out, and of course Isak scored. Had a very good game against Spurs. Nearly scored a fucking worldie. I don't know if you saw that.
I did see that.
Yeah. But fortunately, the fact that he only scored the one means I don't believe he would have got too many more than Wissa. Maybe
He got one more point than Wissa.
There we go. So yeah, that wasn't much of a loss. And then of course Mo Salah in for Odegaard meant that it was one hell of an astounding victory on my substitutions, in my opinion. And once again, I had Haaland. He got me a hat trick the week prior with with my triple captain, and I don't think I could have seen myself swapping him. I was tempted to go to Salah, but then in the end, I think I accidentally went for Haaland. I was like, okay, I don't think I can swap him. Don't think I can take him off captaincy. Definitely can't not vice captain him at the very least after he's just got me a hat trick, and I've triple captained him. And I think as I was going to come to make the decision, the deadline had gone, and so Haaland was captain again. So a little bit of good fortune, but let's be serious. If I had gone for Salah, which would have been my alternative, I would have got exactly the same. So yeah, it was a very good week overall.
Okay, okay. I think it's a really, really good transfer you made, Salah to Odegaard. It's kind of like you've got your crystal ball out, to be honest, with him picking up an injury over the international break.
Yeah,
So it's really worked out well for you. So fair play on that one.
just
Um,
needs sacked us somehow. Well, to be fair, he's got his history and injuries. To be fair,
He does indeed. But yeah, let's move on to the team for this week. I have lined it up, I believe, exactly how you sent it me over on Snapchat. So you've got Pickford in goal, Ped Porro, Gabriel Gavardiol as a back line. Then we've got Gibbs White, Salah, Hudson Odoi, Diego Jota, Brendan Diaz, Muniz, and Haaland with the armband. Was it Viscerin for Diaz or Hudson Odoi? Or...
I've got Vista over Hudson Odoi.
Okay, I can change that.
Um, it's one of those really, Tom, where I really don't know whether it's worth rushing into a transfer because there are plenty of flags that you can see from this team. I do understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Going past the goalkeeper because I do feel like as much as Everton are shambles, I do need to wait until there's some kind of token to use before I look to swap my goalkeeper. I'm happy to take the hit on that for the time being
Yeah.
until they start shipping 10 a game, which could happen. I get the highlights. You could bring up about the fact that there's Arsenal against Spurs, and then there's Guardiola. Guardiola, of course, is a no-brainer. He stays. Pep Porro and Gabriel, it's not. I just don't think it's for me. For many other people, fair enough. That might be like something you can deal with, or there's an opportunity to rotate someone else in, or to completely get rid of one of them. I feel like that could come back to bite me if I really focused on that because there are still other places to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
That could finish 0-0. It could. So I'm willing to take that gamble in defence. Midfield wise, Salah of course, which says it all really. Ben Brereton Diaz scored against United for Sheffield United last season. If he's going to do anything really, I think he needs to act on it in the next couple of game weeks. Otherwise, I do think Morgan Rogers is someone that I'm going to have to capitalise on. Otherwise, his price is going to continue to rise, whilst Ben Brereton Diaz continues to derail. And then, of course, we've got Jota. Yep, happy with him. I don't see him going out too soon, but of course, we have got Champions League coming up shortly, so maybe that'll see a bit more rotation from slot, and maybe that'll then force my hand a little bit. But for this weekend, I'm happy to keep it how it is. And then before we go on to the Forest boys, Muniz and Harden speak for themselves. Harden with the captain's armband. You can't take a captain's armband off someone that's going to be playing for a hat trick of hat tricks. Really stop that. We've got Rissa. That's where my headache starts because I was happy having Gibbs White in. I was happy with that because, I mean, I sent you the picture. Last time Liverpool played at Anfield against Forest, they won 3-0. The time before that, they won 3-2. Gibbs White got a goal and assist. Jota scored twice. Salah scored. Like, it would be a perfect thing if Lightning did strike twice there because my team would really benefit from it. But I don't want more than one player in. Hence why I've got Hudson Odoi on the bench. Barley's on the bench with this injury suggestion and the fact that it seems he is out of favour now in place of Milenkovic and Kwanzaa, of course, as well. I could take the risk and put Kwanzaa in maybe for Visser so that then I've got a player that if he does play, you'd imagine has a better chance of gaining some points. And of course, there is Champions League football to consider, so maybe that is a viable option. But I'll be intrigued to know what you say. But at the end of the day, I think it would either be it would be Hudson Odoi that I would remove, and then it would be him. Whoever I replace him with would play instead of Visser, which means I'd have the same back three. I'd have Gibbs White, Salah, Ben Brereton, Diaz, Jota, and that Hudson-Odoi replacement with Muniz and Haaland captain up top, that would be the only place I believe I could see myself making a move. But I've just seen how good making like saving it at least another week. So I have two transfers has paid off for me. I'm just thinking I don't want to be taking this one step at a time and always being playing catch up. Maybe this week I just need to bite the bullet, so to speak, and then next week I'll be in a much better position to actually reassess my team.
Okay, okay. A few thoughts. How much money have you got in the bank?
Let me just have a look. I don't think it's much. Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Okay. Let me have a think then. What you could do is you could do Hudson-Odoi to Minter from what's it called? From
Right.
Brighton. They've got Ipswich this week.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a good fixture next week as well. So two decent fixtures there. That could be an option for Hudson-Odoi and bench Visser for the next two. Then Visser's run picks back up.
Mm-hmm. I like the sound of that.
I'm just looking at other options as well. How long does Muniz get in this team? Obviously, 3 blanks in a row. Do you think you're going to keep faith with him? What's the point where you switch away from Muniz?
Why have Mooney's got a few tricky ones now?
Not necessarily. They've got Newcastle next week, but
At home. I think he stays in for the next three. I don't think I take him out for one tricky game unless, of course, he starts getting rotated. But like we clarified at the start of the game of the season, Brentford and Fulham have a good rotation, and of course, having Muniz and Visser does seem to be an option to capitalise on that part of me. Bloody Fulham making me tired. But yeah, I think that's something that I don't think I'll be too worried about too soon. I think the only alternative, or the only reason why I'd be tempted to get rid of one of them, is if there's a striker that is just banging them in.
Do you think? I think it's probably one though. Is realistically, when are you thinking about wildcarding?
I don't know. To be honest, Tom, I haven't really thought that far into it.
I mean, you've got both the captain options that people want, so it's probably not going to be for a few more weeks. I'm just thinking there is starting to pile up quite a few problems now, though. You've got Bolly and Kwanzaa, who are both duds effectively because they're not playing. Hudson-Odoi, if you take him out this week, that's fine. But then you're going to have, Ben Brereton Diaz if he doesn't start to turn up. Forest's fixtures start to slip, so Gibbs White starts to look a little bit shaky. If Muniz continues to blank,
have a look shaky, Tom.
I'm just saying. Jota
No,
becomes a rotation option.
I do understand that, but like you say, I've got both the captains in, I've both the big boys in. I've managed to do that without taking any hits so far this season. So I would like to avoid doing a wild card after 3 games. I really would like to avoid.
No, I'm not saying do it now. I'm saying more like 6, 8, 12.
Yeah. I guess if you were to do it the earlier, the sooner, the more chance. The sooner I do it, I guess, the more acceptable it is for me to make one transfer a week. But yeah, once again, I'm just like, I've got Salah, I've got Haaland. There are still people without Haaland.
Hello.
There we go. So that means the fact that I have got players that maybe contradict one another, and I'm begging for a 0-0 in the North London derby, and we've got, like you say, Ben Brereton, where Southampton have been a little bit, have taken a little bit of time really to adapt to the Premier League again. I've got that triple Forest, and then of course I've got Visser in it with a difficult game, so he can't even fit in for one of the Forest players. I know I've got those issues, but I do feel like I want to be a little bit more cautious about where I spend my transfers and not just do it game by game. Especially when not having seen how well it worked for me with the double transfer, and of course I don't think it will ever work quite so well again because I wouldn't bring in Mo Salah in for a game week. But I do feel like having the opportunity to fiddle around with 2 transfers, it does make all the difference. and that could be something where I immediately get rid of a defender and a midfielder. So, say I take out Hudson-Odoi, bring in someone along the lines of Morgan Rogers. I don't think I can actually afford that now.
Yeah, you can.
Can I?
Yeah, Morgan Rogers is 5.1.
Oh, fantastic. Well, in that case, that might be an option that I go for. Maybe take out Bolly before his price drops anymore for a 4.5 million player that will actually play games. I mentioned to you, what do you think about Colwill? But I got shot down. Like I just said something really offensive. But like I understand they've got like a team that could fill a whole school, don't they?
Yeah, very easily. I think
So,
for
yeah.
me, the transfer this week would be Hudson-Odoi to either Morgan Rogers or Minter from Brighton.
Who do I have
They have Everton
at home?
at home.
Oh.
Lad, currently Everton are winning Bedshitter of the Week award. I feel like,
Everything I've just said is about to go out the window, isn't it? Because like the only thing with like Hudson-Odoi for Morgan Rogers saves me 0.3 million. Hudson-Odoi was 5.5. He's dropped to 5.4, and I assume Morgan Rogers was 5.
He was 5. He's gone up, and I expect him to probably go up again, to be honest.
Oh.
I'd do that move. Villa's fixtures are just steady for like at least
Well,
6 weeks.
lads, I've got some apologising to do. All of my advice in the past 5 to 10 minutes is about to go right out the fucking window because I do feel. Why have you called me? Why have you got me into this when I've just woken up? Now I'm gonna make a move which I'm gonna regret when
You're
I'm
not
fully.
gonna. Why are you gonna regret it? Hudson-Odoi to Rogers or Minter is probably the best move.
I do feel like Rogers is the one because I have been tempted to have him in.
Then there you go. Then you can bench Visser. You've got Gibbs White and you've got Ben Burton Diaz are the two players that do have a bit of a tricky fixture this week. The North London derby could go either way. It's one of those. You've got the best two captaincy options for this week anyway, so I think that's the best move to make.
Oh God. Are there anyone else that pops up just before?
Not really.
Alanga.
No. Stop yourself. Behave.
Oh, fucking hell. Ross Barkley.
But yeah,
well,
that's the moves I would make, mate.
I've made it.
You brought Rogers in.
Yeah.
And you're benching Visser.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fair enough. I think that's probably the right way to go.
Sorry, guys. If you want someone that's more decisive, then don't come to FPL Jake's stream after this one. We stream very late, considering my routine at the moment. But yeah. Onto your team, maybe?
Onto my team. Let's move on. Let's keep this show going off. Jake's not with it today, bless him. I mean, it's not getting much better for me, to be honest. This is the worst start I've had probably in about 4 years.
Where's the graphic that shows us both in the leaderboard together, by the way?
We're not whipping that one out until at least 10 game weeks in. But this is genuinely the worst start I've ever had to an FPL season.
A wild card.
I am looking at a potential wild card here with this team, to be honest, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. I think the main kind of blunder I made in this week, I just got the captaincy decision wrong. If I'd have gone with Salah, I think it would have only been about a 200,000 rank drop. Wouldn't have been too bad. In the end, it was about 1.1 million because we did get that captaincy decision wrong. But it just shows how powerful Erling Haaland is. Like, I didn't expect him to get another hat-trick again, to be honest.
That's the thing. It's not Salah's fault because you will have lost the people that captained Haaland.
Yeah.
If Haaland was dead as a dodo, you would have been fine with that assist.
I would. It's one of those where I always expected the Ipswich game for him to get at least 2 attacking returns. I wasn't delusional enough to think, yeah, he's not going to get more than 2 against Ipswich. I always thought he would get more than 2, and I remember saying it in the deadline streams to people. I was like, yeah, triple captain. You even triple captained him after like the chats we had, because I was like, he will get 2 attacking returns at a minimum. but then it's just damage limitations. Unfortunately, he's gone and done it again. So that's the problem. I didn't expect him to get a hat trick again. He was looking like the best captaincy option. I thought if he can get himself a goal, I'll be happy with that. The team can definitely make some progress. And I do feel that both him and Salah will not be able to maintain these level of performances in terms of points and goals. It's just not feasibly possible. This is the best start Salah's ever had in FPL after 3
He's never
weeks.
got an attacking return in 3 consecutive games, has he? Not in the first 3, anyway.
Not in the first 3, but yeah, this is the most points he's had after, I think, the last 5-6 seasons of FPL as well. So there will be a drop-off in points. Haaland will not score a hat-trick every single week. Despite what some people believe, he will continue to score goals, yes, but it's physically not possible for a football player to score a hat-trick every week unless he's playing like in an under-12s league or is like,
He's on the juice.
Yeah, well, yeah, or he's like an ex-convict playing in a Sunday league. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to happen. So there will be a drop-off, but I do think he will end up in this team at some point. And that was always the plan. He was always going to come in around 6, 7, and I think we're still going to stick with it. Obviously, we're waiting for kind of an update on Cole Palmer in terms of whether or not he's going to be fit and available, but I imagine he will. He's been pictured back in training. I am just waiting for that like official confirmation, if you like. So let's move on to how the team would look for this week. So I've not made my changes yet, and the transfer that I was potentially thinking about making would be swapping Saliba for Trent for the next 2, and then wildcarding in 6. That's the plan with that. We captain Salah again. And then we just stick with the team as is, to be honest. So it would be Henderson, Trent, Porro, Gvardiol, Saka, Palmer, Rodgers, Gordon, Salah captain, Isak, and Muniz would be the team. It's not a bad team.
No, it's not. It's just a shame that one player can make such a big impact on your team.
Yeah. I think if I get captaincy right last week, I don't think it becomes as big an issue. I don't feel I'm in this kind of position that I'm in now. Like, it wouldn't be as bad, but I didn't.
Yeah, it's not really very fair, to be honest. I do sympathise. Oh, sorry, I just turned up yourself on the volume. I do sympathise with those that haven't got Haaland. It's like when a year 11 comes and takes your ball in year 7. It's just not really very fair.
It isn't fair, but he is a robot, and like if you look at all the data, he has been top of like projected points, projected goal involvements, everything. So I'm going against the data.
The impressive thing about all of your statistics, I really am surprised with how close Salah's been and how much he's kept up with Haaland, albeit he gets an extra point per goal. But the statistics and all the predicted points after for the first 5 games that we've looked at, and I'm sure we'll look at again. They've always been above and beyond everyone else of Salah and Haaland, neck and neck. And I thought, Haaland will outdo him, surely. But no. The statistics have been bang on so far. They really have been above and beyond anyone else. And have been just playing their own little battle.
Yeah.
Some would say it's Ronaldo and Messi, but I don't know.
They're delusional.
But then no one's been looking at Anthony.
Yeah. FN has said, so you're keeping Saka for the Man City fixture. Yeah, that would be the plan. We would roll next week. It would mean obviously having Saka against City, which isn't ideal.
They're at home.
They are at home, but it's not ideal. I get that. And then we'd roll that transfer, so we take 2 with the wild card.
No, I think that's a decent game for him to be playing.
No,
they've got to go for it there. They can't be a stinky team. They won 1-0 last time at home. I feel like Saka at home to City could get you points there. It's a big game, and you're just reluctant because it is such a tough fixture. But when it's at the Emirates, I do feel like Arsenal got a very good chance of winning. They should definitely feel like they can score. And what's to stop Saka from being that guy that scores?
True. What do you think about the transfer in Saliba for Trent? Do you like that?
I like that, yeah. I do like that. Like I said before, I think if I didn't have all these headaches everywhere else on the field, I would have made a transfer, or I would have at least made one of the transfers for my defenders, so that I could maybe bench Porro or Saliba this week.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't want to start losing my head, taking -4s, taking out 4.5 million defenders. Now that I've, of course, also made my transfer after preaching that it's a silly thing for me to do to make a transfer, I've done it. I've committed to it. I'm not going to, and please believe me this time, I'm not going to double down and dig myself a deeper hole. Having just said I'm not going to make a transfer, I'm going to hold it. So I've got two. I've done that, but I'm now not going to go and make it worse by taking -4s just for a defender, just for this week, when it could well blow up in my face where Spurs and Arsenal finishes 0-0, or Arsenal win 2-1, but both defenders got some kind of attack in return. Like anything can happen there. They're two players that are going to be guaranteed game time if they are fit. So I think I just leave it how it is. It's in a similar effect to how you see the goalkeepers playing and just keeping them in because any game can benefit them goals. I think that's a similar issue here. Like it's just not worth me going all around the houses only for this game to actually have been the all right decision in the first place. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I get what you mean. FN, I think Robertson is a decent shout. Like, I think it is between him or Trent. And interestingly, the Fantasy Football Hub AI algorithm transfer for this week was recommending that I went for Robertson rather than going for Trent. So it's not the worst shout in the world, to be honest. And I do get your point about room for improvement, but with me wildcarding in 6 anyway, it makes it not really important, that extra. Like, I'm going to roll next week, and then we'll wildcard anyway, so we just have a clean slate. But I get your point. What about you? If this was your team right now, would you be hitting that wildcard button, or do you think you'd stick?
I think you've got a good team. If I'm being honest, I would probably. Have you only got the one transfer?
I've only got the one transfer, yeah.
I would want to get Haaland in. I would. But like, I also get that he's not going to score 3 hat tricks in a row, and if he does, he really does need dope testing. But yeah, I feel like if you've got a plan and you've stuck with it and you've been hitting felt like you've had the 2 blows of 2 hat tricks, it's rough. Yeah, I understand why you're not doing it, but personally, I think if you really want me to be like take the team upon myself, then I'd probably get rid of the Newcastle boys. Saves you some money, affords you Haaland, and I don't know how much it leaves you back, but I don't think I'd really care how much as long as I could bring a player in. I think that's just my opinion, but you have got a very strong team, and so like we've mentioned before, it's been 3 games, and also you've got a team that spreads out the potential for attacking returns. Haaland and Salah owners have very much cut their losses a little bit. They've narrowed down their opportunity for a decent outcome, and they're just cashing in at the moment, really, because both those 2 players have been on fire. But like you say, across the whole of the season, you'd imagine that your likes of Palmer, Saka, Gordon, Isak, and Salah are going to accumulate more points altogether than Haaland and Salah.
Yeah, I do get that. I think the only thing for me is right. I don't want to sell either of the Newcastle players ahead of Wolves away.
Fair enough.
Like that is the only way I would be able to get Haaland in is if I downgraded. Maybe I'd have to probably take a Saka out. I think I'd have to do Saka and Isak to Haaland and maybe like a 4.5. But that's the only way I could do it.
Also, you have got Haaland going to Arsenal away, don't you? Next week, so
I don't think they're away. I think they're at home. Yeah, they're at home. City are at home.
I'll get rid of Saka, mate. I take it. What's going on with me today? What is going on with me today? Yeah, no, but Saka away to City is a completely different story. So once again, completely wasted my time preaching that.
Nice one.
But in that case, that would be a good place to get to make some money. You put Saka against Spurs, where who knows how that game can go? Probably 0-0. Please be 0-0. Let's hope it's 0-0. Um, you could always take out Saka, take out. Who is your other striker?
Muniz.
No, the other one.
Oh, Cannon.
No. Never even heard of him. Um, does that mean if you wanted Haaland, you'd have to take out Isak, really?
Yeah, there's the only way. That's literally what I said about 2 minutes ago.
And when's Wolves next week?
No, Wolves is now, mate. Are you all right in the head? Have you had a bang on the head today?
Oh, maybe. So what? Right. So let me clarify. Wolves away for Newcastle is this weekend.
Yes.
So, and Saka's got Spurs, and then he's got City.
Yes.
And you're thinking of bringing in who?
Well, I'm thinking about doing Trent for Saliba.
Right. Would you be tempted to take out Saka instead?
No.
Okay.
Saka will score in this fixture. He has a great record in it.
I believe so too, but I also feel like it's one way of avoiding taking a minus or doing a wild card to get Haaland in. Or just don't do anything, by the way.
I don't want to do anything. I think it's worth getting Trent in for the next 2 weeks.
Fair enough. All right, well, I enjoyed that little segment of Jake. What would you do if you had my team? No.
Cool. Right, let's answer some of your guys' questions. Since I've let's have a look. How about Danny Welbeck? Someone said. What are your thoughts on Danny Welbeck? He started the season incredibly well.
Yeah, he doesn't finish games.
Evan Ferguson's back as well, isn't he? So
yeah, I don't think I'd go for him. I do like the likes of Minter. I think Adingra looks good. It's just a shame he's not getting much game time. And then Mitoma is probably the main alternative as well.
What other questions have we got? Do you mind just turning your volume down, Tad? It's just like reverberating for us. Someone's asking about Watkins. Do you think has he been training? I haven't seen any update on Watkins yet. I think Emery's press conference is tomorrow, so just wait for kind of that one anyway.
Well, I think regarding Watkins, as we've clarified before, even if he's as happy as Larry, you shouldn't be wasting your money on him.
No, I think it's more for the people that have already got him in and what to do.
Get rid of him.
It's hard though with that fixture run. It really, really is. That fixture run's delightful.
Get Duran in.
I mean, this is the thing. I reckon one of these games Duran will start. And the reason that I reckon Duran will start is they came out this week and said that they rejected 40 bids for him over the international break, over the summer transfer window.
Wow.
You don't keep someone that desperately if you're just going to bench them, let him.
You're in the Champions League, aren't they, as well?
Yeah,
Watkins will start a good chunk of those Champions League games.
Mm-hmm. I think those two are just going to be rotating with each other all the time. You do not reject 40 bids and keep a man happy as well with that as well.
Fully.
Because if he's seeing these 40 bids coming in, he's thinking, right, I can probably get more money. I can go and be a first team player somewhere else. What have Villa promised him? Now we're already seeing he's coming in on around about 60 minutes anyway. He's scoring when he's coming on as well. I think it's a matter of time before he starts a game over Watkins.
Could even be this week.
Could even be this week. Obviously, Watkins withdrawing from the England team as well.
How much is he?
He's 6 million.
Oh, he's a bit expensive really for a rotation, isn't he? But if we start seeing the rotation set in stone with the Champions League, then maybe that's a gamble worth going for.
Yeah. Someone's asked us Jota or Diaz on the wild card. Which one would you pick?
I would. God. Well, I mean, I think it's a bit of a toss-up, to be honest. Are they both the same price or not?
I believe so, right? Or is Diaz slightly more expensive? I know Jota's had a price rise. Where is he? Diaz is 7.6. Both 7.6. I thought Diaz hadn't had a price rise, but he has. So they're both 7.6.
How many points has Diaz got so far this season?
He has got more, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, Jota's got 17.
Diaz has got 32.
Well, there you go. I think that's why you've got to go off, to be honest. Diaz is in a little bit of a purple patch in front of goal. I think the United game will have helped that, but yeah, I think Diaz is a very good shout. I think if the people that have had him from the start of the season are absolutely laughing. Jota, consistent, but he's also one that could be more likely to be subbed off. I mean, I think that's the thing. Diaz is as well. You're only really safe with Salah, and even he'll go off in some games. But yeah, it's whether Diaz's purple patch continues. Jota's just ambling around fairly consistently, popping up with the odd goal or assist. But Diaz definitely is hitting the back of the net more than anyone's expected him to this season, considering some of the misses he's had in the past. So yeah, go for Diaz. Why not? But it's really a toss-up between the two, and I don't think you can argue too much against that either.
If it was for me, I don't think I'd go for either of them, personally.
Yeah, and I understand that as well. I do understand that.
I just think with Champions League football coming round, you've got 6 players that can play across that front three.
I think Salah's set up in the really.
I think if I was on a wild card this week, I would prefer one of Robertson or Trent over going for a Diaz.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I think Salah's just the one, and I think if you're trying to look for a cheaper replacement in Jota or Diaz, I don't think it's gonna end up particularly well, is it?
Home to Forest, home to Bournemouth, away to Wolves. Bloody hell!
It's a genuinely great.
Harvey Elliott's broken his foot as well.
Maybe Szoboszlai's the one then. Played 3 consecutive 90s in the 10, picked up a few assists as well.
That's not a bad shout, and I imagine it'll be a bit cheaper.
6.5, yeah.
Yeah, not a bad idea. Is this wild card this week? Would you imagine this guy's doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it'd be interesting to see how this weekend goes, considering we've just had internationals. It's hard as well after internationals just to see how everyone jumps back into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can actually understand your point as to why you'd maybe be reluctant to have either. But yeah, if you heart is set on one or the other, then I'd go Diaz.
Here's a question as well, though. Obviously, Diaz is going to be, coming from South America, where he's been on international duty. Does maybe, the manager look at that and thinks, right, we'll rest him this weekend and he can start the Champions League game?
It's like I say, I mean, that makes perfect sense. But I really, no one knows what Slot's going to do. Like, there's an argument for both sides of it because, yes, that makes sense. But then why would you change a winning formation and a winning team and a team that haven't conceded a goal yet? I feel like there's also that side of things, and that might in turn mean that he's substituted earlier. But I think if I was a betting man, which of course I've never bet a penny in my life.
No.
If I was a betting man, I think I'd be more inclined to think that Slot will start his same 11 again, unless there's a clear lack in fitness or someone's like. That's the only reason I can see it. I feel like he won't want to change it just yet. I get that the Champions League is on Tuesday night in Milan, but I think I'm just guessing here because no one knows what Slot's going to do.
No.
Because if he does change the team up at home to Forest, you'd understand it. It's if Klopp was manager, Kwanzaa would be in, Tsimikas would be in. It would be a massive mix-up, and the only person you probably rely on is Van Dijk and Alisson. Even Salah isn't safe with Klopp. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it goes. But yeah, with it being so early in the season, I could see Slot picking his same team, and maybe that would then mean that Diaz or Jota, should you have him, will have to act quickly because you'd imagine they get taken off.
Yeah, we've got an update anyway. We've got an update on it. So it's only for 2 weeks. So in game week 6, they'll be moving to Mbuemo. So for the next 2 weeks, if you had to pick Diaz or Jota, I think we're kind of in agreement on Diaz.
Yeah, he's in a good vein of form. It's more than he's expected, whereas Jota is just doing what is expected. So you've got to go for the guy that's outperforming himself.
Yeah, 100%. I'm planning a game week 6 wildcard. I don't know what City assets I should get other than Haaland. I mean, KDB's numbers are outrageous. Genuinely outrageous. Coming all the way from back when he was injured last year, all the way up until he's playing now, have been absolutely outrageous. So if he can keep that up, he'll definitely be on the radar. Looks like Foden was pictured back in training today as well. He's always one of those aloof picks in FPL. If you catch him at the right time, you're winning. If not, it's benching headaches, injuries, and one pointers. And then defensively as well, I think Gvardiol's not been the same Gvardiol. He's playing a completely different role. But does that maybe change with Walker back in the lineup? Potentially. Or, again, you've got Rico Lewis, who's done exceptionally well in the kind of new further position role, a little bit further forward in the kind of attacking lineup. So there's lots to think about with City, and I definitely think if I was on a 6 wild card, I'd be looking how they integrate Foden back into that side, what the plans are for Rodri as well, before making my mind up, to be honest.
Yeah, I understand that. I think Rico Lewis is definitely a worthwhile risk though for a wild card. Is that a wild card in game week 6? Did he say?
In game week 6, I feel we'll
Yeah,
have a
so you've
little
got
bit more
plenty of time
information.
to keep an eye on things.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think if you're doing the wild card this week, I'd put Rico Lewis in because you know he'll start. But yeah, at least you've got a few weeks to just keep an eye on the rotation, really.
That's one of the main reasons I'm thinking of not wildcarding this week as well, is because I want to see how Champions League rotation affects different sides.
Yeah, definitely.
Because next week we could come into this and, that whole Champions League lineup for Liverpool's rotated, or Diaz and Jota have played both games full 90s. Then we've got a completely different situation on our hands. You know what I mean? So it's one of those, isn't it? It's difficult.
Definitely.
So I think getting more information is better sometimes. Cool.
Yeah.
Right. Well, let's continue this show. Let's keep on cooking. Let's head over to, of course, Rob T FPL's data for this week, the SpreadX betting data. I absolutely love this. We've been covering this since the Euros, and it's a very, very good tool, to be honest, to be looking at individual game weeks themselves. And it might help you with, in terms of captaincy, looking at which teams are the best for projected goals or clean sheets. As we can see, the two standout teams for this week are where the best two captain options lie as well. It is Manchester City with 2.95 projected goals and a 46% chance of a clean sheet, and Liverpool with 2.8 projected goals and a 46% chance of a clean sheet as well. It's looking good for both Liverpool and City this week, Jake, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Sorry, I just said so.
Oh, get the glasses on. Go on. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it is looking very good. Liverpool defensively, it's crazy to think that they're looking quite astute. It's going to be interesting to see how the North London derby goes. It's going to be interesting to see how Arsenal do over the next few weeks with Odegaard injured.
And Rice suspended as well. Both big parts of kind of their attacking play.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's interesting that. I like that Southampton are expected to score once because that gives Ben Brereton Diaz a chance to prove himself. That's going to be an interesting game, to be honest. That'll be good fun to watch.
Well, United have still looked the same old United at the back. They're still conceding sloppy goals, still look absolutely abysmal defensively. So I wouldn't put it past Southampton to go and score. They're at home. They've been playing quite expansive football. Now, it has led to quite a few mistakes. But this is a United team that are devoid of confidence yet again. And have got some really big defensive issues that need sorting out. So I think the Ben Brereton Diaz one might not be the worst thing in the world.
Yeah. I think João Pedro owners will be licking their lips this
Oh,
weekend.
100%.
He looked so good against United, by the way. I don't... No. Yeah, it was United. And then, of course, Arsenal. To be honest, that was a strange game. Arsenal probably should have won that one. Even they should have had the game wrapped up before the red card.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I like him in his little number 10 role.
I've got a question for you, right?
Yeah.
Let's say your team was in pretty fine form and you were looking at maybe using a transfer this week. Would you swap Muniz for João Pedro? Obviously, Muniz not really done anything. João Pedro's looked the better of the two players. Good projected goal numbers this week as well. Would you be tempted?
I'd certainly be intrigued. I'd certainly be tempted to, because you could then further down the line, if you want to keep that Brentford and Fulham rotation, you could just bring Smith Rowe in midfield.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because I think he's had a fairly decent start to life.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, João Pedro, I've liked what I've seen from him so far. He's looked good.
Looks like there could be quite a lot of goals this weekend. There's not like tight games, is there? There's a lot with decent projected goal numbers here.
Need to do my football predictions.
You do need to do predictions. People that are looking to obviously sell Isak this week as well. Do you think maybe seeing these high numbers for Newcastle for projected goals maybe puts you off if you were in that kind of...
I'd definitely be put off taking Isak out if you've got him. Wolves away. I mean, I think it might be a bit of an anomaly proven through the Chelsea game, because they went and Wolves then went to Forest, got themselves a draw. Chelsea went home to Palace and couldn't beat them. So it's like you'd expect from that game that Forest would win and that Chelsea would win, but that didn't happen. Mm-hmm. So Wolves, Newcastle, you'd imagine they'll put a better showing in from their 6-2 defeat last time at home, but nonetheless, you'd imagine Newcastle fans and Newcastle themselves will be thinking that they can score a few goals here.
Yeah, 100%. I think the only justification I would give for maybe taking Alexander Isak out this week is if it allows you to maybe go and get Mohamed Salah or Erling Haaland in. And that's not for a minus. I think if you've got two free transfers lying around and you need to maybe sacrifice Isak to go and get one of those players in, I think that's perfectly acceptable.
Yeah, it's like what I did last week. Like, you've got to do it. It's the greater good. I took Isak out. He scored, but fortunately so did Wissa, who I brought in the place of him, and it's paid off. So it probably won't pay off in the long run, like Wissa and Isak, without thinking about the greater good. You'd imagine Isak will score more, but yeah, I agree with you there. If you're going to get Haaland or Salah in, then Isak is a worthy sacrifice.
Yeah, 100%. How long would you give Isak before you take him out? We've had a few questions around that in the chat.
Is this
just to remove him?
The Salah question.
No, this is just separate. How many more weeks do you give him?
Let me just have a little look.
They've got Wolves and Fulham next, both pretty good fixtures, I would say.
Definitely so. Yeah.
Then they've got City, which is a difficult one.
At home, though.
It is at home.
It's tricky with Isak because he can go a little bit unnoticed sometimes, but he is one of those clinical strikers in the league. You just have to take it one game week at a time. He scored last week. He nearly scored a worldie. He's had a good start to the season. They've got Wolves. They've got Fulham. That's 2 away games, which it'd be more. I think you can get more from those 2 away games as to like how he's doing this season than you can from the home games that follow. So yeah, if he's not doing too great against Wolves and Fulham, you might be a little bit concerned. But if he pops up with a goal at least over the course of those 2 games, I think you're sound. I know it doesn't sound like a great return, but I think a goal at least over the next 2, you've got to forgive their away games. Then they've got City at home. I feel like a goal contribution there would be nice. But then you've got to accept the City. And then you've got a fairly decent couple of games with Everton and Brighton. Depends how Everton are doing around then. And then I think you've got a good idea by that point when it comes to some tricky games for Chelsea and Arsenal. I think you've got a good idea whether it's worth gambling or not.
Okay. Let's answer some of your guys' questions in the chat. First one up, do you think I should keep Havertz against Spurs?
Yeah, definitely.
That was very brave of you there, young man.
He's had such a good start to the season. I don't think you should be taking players out that are overperforming.
Okay. I have a different interpretation. I think with Odegaard out and no Rice in midfield, I think he'll be playing midfield for this one at least. Maybe City as well.
He's still playing though.
He is, but I wouldn't want him playing in midfield. I want him up front. And I think it's two
Okay.
difficult fixtures on paper. You could move to someone for 2 weeks, and if you're wildcarding in 6, get him back.
Hmm. I would argue you keep him for this game week. If it goes a shambles, then take him out next week. But yeah, I would keep him because he's had a really good start to life. But depends who you're bringing in for him. If you're bringing Salah in for him, I'll shut up.
What about if it was João Pedro? Would you move to
Ooh.
João Pedro for just 2 weeks if you're on a 6
Yeah, I
wildcard?
would. I would.
I think that would be worth a move, to be honest.
Yeah, João Pedro's a nice shout. So is Rodgers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, what other questions have we had? We've had a few around Matoma and Minter. If you had to pick one, who would you pick?
Oh, probably go Minty. Just someone different.
I
That's the only logic
yeah.
I've got behind that.
I think Minter will play probably 70 to 60 minutes, whereas I feel Matoma probably does get a little bit more. However,
Yeah, because you got a dinger to think about, don't you?
is justifying that extra million worth it for like maybe 20 more minutes? I don't know. They've got no European football to
It's
worry
too
about.
early to tell so far.
Yeah, I think it's one of those. I think Matoma is the more nailed player that probably will see more minutes on the pitch. But you have to ask yourself, is that worth that extra million that you're going to be paying for that? Probably not. So, yeah. What other questions have we got? Let's keep them going. Keep them coming in, guys. We'll try and answer as many as we can. For those that are obviously playing Fantasy EFL, there is a game on tonight, so make sure you're getting your team locked and loaded for that. It is Doncaster versus Harrogate. And we'll be keenly watching Luke Molyneux while answering your questions. So, yeah, let's rattle through some more. Does Salah to Saka in game week 6 feel a bit natural or a stretch?
Oh my god. Sorry, I've lost my head a little bit because I've just gone, shit, I've not done my team. But I've got Luke Molyneux already in my team from last week, so that saved me a little bit of a hassle.
Oh, there you go. You don't have to worry about it till after the game.
You know what the best thing about it is? He's also my vice.
Ah, there we go. You can do that. You can do that glitch then.
Right, sorry, ask me the question.
So, Salah to Saka in game week 6. Would you be up for that move? Because that's probably one I would be looking at on a wild card. Or if I was looking for transfers, probably would be one. Because Arsenal go on a pretty incredible run at that period. They have back-to-back home games against Leicester and Southampton.
Oh, I don't know, mate. I'm really not sure. I'd take Salah out. It just depends how Salah's doing, how how the Champions League integrates with his game time. I mean, I know you've got those two very good games at home, and you've got Bournemouth. Yeah, fair enough. That's good. A good 3 games, but it's competing with Wolves, Palace, and Chelsea. That's not bad away games for Liverpool. And then the Chelsea games at home. Salah loves a goal against Chelsea. Oh yeah, I don't know. I don't think Salah would be the one I'd take out there.
I don't think
But
it's not clean cut, is it? It's definitely not
yeah,
clean cut
you've got to
because
wait until you get there.
I think one of the other big appeals is number one, captaincy in that game week 6 is definitely up for grabs. So you'd have Saka with Leicester at home, Liverpool with Wolves away, so that'd be Salah's fixture, and then obviously Newcastle away for Haaland. Now, on paper, you would have to say probably Leicester at home is the best fixture there.
Or Palmer at home to Brighton.
Palmer at home to Brighton, but that I think Brighton have started the season pretty well and look quite good. But for me, that is probably going to be who you're going to have realistically as your captains. Go on.
Morgan Rogers away to Ipswich.
Shush, be quiet. Be
Lad,
quiet.
I've got to double down on him now. I've just bloody brought him in a rush of blood to the head.
But I think that is the reason I would go and bring Saka in, is for that game week 6 fixture. If I was going to captain him. Otherwise, I don't know. I think I'm probably with you at that point. I would probably maybe stick with Salah, because in game week 7, game week 8 and game week 9, you're just going to captain Haaland anyway with Fulham, Wolves and Southampton.
Yeah, and then you got Liverpool game week 9's Liverpool Arsenal anyway.
Yeah. So I think unless you captain him in 6, I don't think I'd be looking to maybe make that move. That'd be my advice on that one.
Yeah, agreed.
Cool. What other questions have we got? Some news on Konza. We haven't had anything yet, so we should get that in the press conference. There will be a stream tomorrow, so if we do get any update, we will be talking about it in that one as well. Final two questions before we move on to predicted points. Leif Davis as a wildcard punt. What do you think? Good set of fixtures coming up.
He got an assist for their first goal of the Premier League. The set of fixtures are all right. They're away from home, which is a bit tricky, but then they've got Villa at home, a tricky game, and they've got 4 more Greens. It's a gamble I was willing to take at one point at the start of the season. In the end, there seem to be better options, but for that cheap, I don't think it's a bad shout. I think it could be someone I could consider, to be fair, with Willy Bolly on his way out.
He's got the Doherty vibes to him, hasn't he? You wouldn't expect Ipswich to maybe keep as many clean sheets this season. However, it is those attacking returns, because he is playing so far forward and is one of their main sources of creativity. So if he comes into a game where, it's an okay-ish fixture, there's the potential of a clean sheet, but if he can pick up an attacking return with that, you could be looking at some pretty decent scores, to be honest.
They're away to Brighton this weekend, so I'll probably hold off for a week.
Yeah, well, if you're on a wild card, he could be a good bench option.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, not the worst one in the world. What was the other question we had? Or was that it? I think we had one more, and then we'll answer some more in a little while at the end of today's stream. Saka or Palmer on the wild card? Who would you go for?
Ooh. I'd go Palmer, because you can bring Saka in when game week 6 comes along if need be.
Agreed. I like that. Right, let's move on to today's final section, and then we'll finish up answering some of your guys' questions. Obviously, if I don't get around to everybody's questions, there will be another stream tomorrow, and then, of course, the deadline stream as well. Starting off at the top, it is those two main men again. It is Haaland and it is Mohamed Salah over the next 5 game weeks. So Jake's licking his lips looking at this because he knows he's got both of them in his side. Give us a little bit of reflection on that, lad. What do you think about that one?
I mean, yeah, it's a toss up again for captaincy, but I'm gonna accept that I was very fortunate last week or 2 weeks ago to accidentally keep Haaland captain. I do think if I'd gone onto the app, I would have been tempted by Salah too much to pass him up, especially I would have probably doubled down on it because I would have gone, I've just made a double transfer to get him in. Let's captain him. And I would have been like, God damn it, he scored a hat-trick. Why didn't I captain him? And then I would have gone back through the roller coaster of emotions when Salah equalled his points tally regardless. So yeah, I think I stick with Haaland. I've got Salah. It should be a happy weekend for points, and that should keep me afloat with a few little headaches that I'm going to just try and ignore in the team.
Okay. Eze, 4th on this list over the next 5 game weeks. Is that a name that surprises you being that high up?
No, it doesn't. They've kept Gahey, so they've kept at least their captain, which is really important for them defensively, and I think that will have an effect on them offensively. He's had a very good start to the season. And, well, I mean, he's already been ruled out what would have been probably a goal of the season contender. But yeah, he's looked bright. It'll just be intriguing to see how things go. They have, as much as they have kept their captain, they've lost his partner in centre half, and they've also lost Elise. So it is a little bit of they've got a bit of adjusting to do still, even if they are having some decent games. They've also had some low games. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how things go. But, of course, Eze is their talisman. So if they're going to do well, if they're going to continue to improve under the new manager, which I don't know if you can still say he's new.
It's fairly new.
In comparison to what he is, anyway.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Yeah, if they're going to get anything out of games, you'd imagine Eze is at the forefront of it.
Yeah, 100%. 6th place is a guy that we've already spoke about, and some people, I think he is the most sold player this week. It is Alexander Isak. So maybe just one for people that are thinking about potentially selling him. We've obviously said if it is a move for Salah or Haaland and it's not for a minus, we're kind of up for that. However, if it's not for one of those two players, it's probably worth keeping Isak for the next two.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Where's Wissa?
Vissalad doesn't feature on this list, but Brian Mbuemo does. Is he a player you thought about from game week 6 onwards?
He's not, because I like the thought of. I think Visser is playing better than Mooney so far this season, and I don't know if you can tell, but I'm very much on the train of having a Brentford and Fulham player to just rotate with one another.
Okay.
I think that does just make one of those differentials quite straightforward for you, because you don't have to break the bank. And so, yeah, I think Visser and Mooney, Visser's performed better. He's clearly scored, and scoring this season helps. So, yeah, I think if I was going to replace a striker, it would be Muniz at this moment in time. And then you've got Gibbs White. You've got Hudson. Oh, my God. Why am I so keen on naming Forest players? You got Smith Rowe, who would be that viable option in midfield, who can at least look at the behind of Mbuemo from very close by, even if he isn't going to overwhelm him with points. But yeah, I don't think Mbuemo is someone I would be necessarily in need of at the moment.
Who would you go for though if you had to pick right now? Mbuemo or Visser? You've not got either in your side.
I mean, I go Mbuemo.
Yeah. Okay. I thought so.
But I mean, I'm not gonna. I think on the whole of the team, I do think Visser makes more sense.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
Okay. Some other names I wanted to talk about is the bottom three players on this list: Nicholas Jackson, Robertson, and Bowen. We'll start off with Nicholas Jackson. We both owned him last season. Bit of a troll. However, he started the season really brightly. And you know what? Chelsea have got a good set of fixtures coming up. Is he a name that's maybe entered your transfer plans at any point?
Chelsea assets are always going to be on the tip of everyone's tongue, but it's just clarifying which ones are going to be a constant feature. And I feel like we've only really been able to clarify that will be Palmer. No one else is really set in stone. So I think I need a bit more time. I think after seeing them emphatically beat Wolves, I was very intrigued by Madueke. And then he's not really done anything against Palace. So I feel like I just need to see how things go over the next couple of weeks before I'm really convinced by a Chelsea asset other than Palmer.
Okay. Robertson, the only defender I can see on this list as well. Are you surprised to see him on there?
I'm less so, because we've already touched on this in previous weeks when I was very surprised to see him above Trent. But he does get forward a lot more, and you've got Trent who's holding. He might not be in that right back position. He might not be playing as a defender, but he's still not bombing his way forward. Whereas Robertson a lot of the time is getting on the end of a Trent long ball. So I do understand why he's up there. But I would still be intrigued. I'd still be more leaning towards Trent over Robbo. Set pieces as well really does help that argument.
And then the final player, Jared Bowen, and West Ham in particular. Obviously a team we've not really looked into so far this season. But on paper, they've got quite a nice set of fixtures coming up. Fulham away this week, Chelsea at home, Brentford, Ipswich, Tottenham, United, Nottingham Forest. They may be tempted by a West Ham boy if they look good this week.
By a West Ham boy, I think there's only one West Ham boy I would be tempted by, and that is our Jared.
Not Kudus?
He's not really done anything so far.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay.
I think he really should have scored. I think it was against City. He broke away and hit the post, and had he scored, that would have been a whole different story, because it would have been a very nice finish, and it would have made the game interesting. But yeah, other than that, I feel like Bowen he's just inevitable, really.
He really, really is, isn't he? To be honest, and everybody knows I have a massive soft spot for Bowen, so he probably will end up in my team at some point. But yeah, it is what it is. Right, let's answer some of your guys' questions before we do finish up. Like I said, there will be another stream tomorrow anyway if we don't get round to your questions as well. But someone said, I think João Felix could get the number 9 at some point this season as well. very valid shout.
I wonder if you just heard that. I just farted on camera.
Oh, thanks for that, mate. Well, if we didn't hear it,
Apologies, guys.
well, if we didn't hear it, you told us, so that's it.
Yeah, well, just if anyone is blaming the missus or something behind them watching this stream, I don't know why they're behind them. Actually, I'm thinking like if they're streaming. But yeah, apologies. I'll take the blame for that one.
Nice. Salah, Jota, Eze, Rodgers, Matoma, Haaland, Isak, and João Pedro. Who would you bench out of those?
Bloody hell, that's a really stacked team for this week.
Yep, and one of them's got to end up on the bench.
You got to play João Pedro. You got to play Haaland.
And
you've got to play Isak. So that's one thing sorted. You've got all the strikers. So what are the the midfielders?
I think Salah's got to play as well.
Yeah, and who else is remaining?
Jota, Eze, Rodgers, and Matoma.
God.
I think I'd bench Rodgers.
Probably drop Matoma, bench him.
Ooh.
And probably drop Jota, you know.
I think I'd bench Rodgers. Like, I feel everyone else on there...
It's a tasty game, though, isn't it?
It is a tasty game, but I feel everyone else on there is already Premier League proven.
Yeah.
Whereas Rodgers is still in the little bit of the unknown camp.
Yeah, but that also means that he's got that flair about him to not really give a shit.
I do get that. I also think because he's the lowest priced option as well, you expect the least from him. Now, that's not obviously how we should treat assets, but that's how I would probably look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Jamie's just called you an animal.
Why?
Because if you fart, you freak.
Oh. Does no one else fart?
No. Saka to Palmer for a -4 or use a free hit. What do you think?
I wouldn't do either of them, to be honest.
I don't think I'd do either of those, to be honest, either.
Just hold on to Saka. He's not that bad.
Yeah. Literally. I don't think it requires a -4. And I think people are forgetting past records. And if we look at the Fantasy Football Hub points predictor, just for this game week, I think Saka's the 4th highest expected point scorer. So it's not the end of the world. I know people see a red fixture on there, but I wouldn't worry about it. I really wouldn't.
No. Oh my God, they're away both games. I didn't realise that.
Yeah.
Been hard done by that.
Oops. I might give it the other way. Thought it was going to be a Molyneux penalty assist there, but it wasn't. Went the other way. It doesn't look like we're getting any other questions in, so we are going to leave it there for tonight, guys. But like I said, there will be another stream tomorrow. If you do have any questions, we'll be running through some key data and stats as well. So make sure you're getting yourself along to that one. Of course, there will be the obvious deadline stream as well. But if you have enjoyed today's video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And me and Jake will see you in next week's instalment. A nice little salute from you there, mate. Any final thoughts?
No, who won Bedshitter? Was it Everton?
It was Everton. Yeah, I forgot about that. Everton did win Bedshitter of the week, so congratulations to Everton. We'll be posting.
The first club ever to win it as a club, so that's impressive.
I think they need to put that on the new stadium, to be honest.
Maybe they should just call their name of their new stadium the Bedshitter Stadium.
Yeah. I'll speak to them. I'll ring them up. I'll go, lads. Do you wanna get a sponsor? Maybe like Bedshitter Goodison Park Road or whatever it's called, or Bramley Docks Stadium or whatever it's called. Something crap, isn't it?
I don't actually know what it's called. I heard rumours it was going to be called the Strip Chat Stadium at one point for sponsors' rights.
Oh God.
Bramley Moor Dock would be a fairly acceptable name, I must say.
Yeah.
Unless they go all woke and call it the Everton Stadium.
Well, yeah, that would be a pretty woke response, to be honest. Or like Goodison 2.0.
I quite like that.
Goodison 2.0.
Or just like when you've got like your mate's new phone number, it's just Goodison New.
Yeah, Goodison New. Oh dear. Well, if the people at Everton need help with naming rights, we are here.
We've just rattled off a few in seconds, so just imagine what a day could do.
Exactly. So just come away. Someone's put the shitty toffee ground. That's it. Keep them going, guys. Keep them going. These are just great. Oh dear. Right. Thank you very much for everyone that came today. Good luck with the Everton naming convention, and I'll see you in tomorrow's stream. Bye.